Hello and good day, pre-algebra. I'm once again out of the building, so once again we turn to technology to bring you your math lesson today. And we're going to start by correcting PO17. I'm then going to have Mrs. Larson pause the video for you to take a short kind of checkup quiz. So from the comforts of La Casa del Schultz, I can see how we're understanding PO17 before we go on to 18 and 19 today, a double feature is the goal for today. So we did the first one in class together. Basically, the directions for this assignment are to plug that value, the given value for the variable, into the equation and see if it works. If n is 3, does n minus 13, is that the same as 10? And 3 minus 13 is negative 10, which is not the same as positive 10. So that first one, we got an answer of no, or no if I connect my O. The next one we also did together. We talked about when you are squaring a negative number, but that's got to be in parentheses. So you actually get positive 144 minus 2, which is not the same. 142 is not the same as negative 146. So this is also a no. Negative 12 is not the solution for the variable in that equation. The third one, 24 divided by n. If n is 4, and remember I needed to see this work on your page here, does 24 divided by 4, is that the same as 6? Well, 24 divided by 4 is 6, so yes indeedy. That is a happy face yay. That does work. The next one, n being 6, testing that solution. So we have negative 4 times 6 minus 5, and we're seeing if that equals negative 29. Negative 4 times 6 is negative 24, and negative 24 minus 5 is indeed a negative 29. So yes, this one works too, smiley face for that one. Second row, we have 3n plus 2n minus 8n equals negative 21. You know what? I have the opportunity here to simplify this a bit, combine like terms. So by golly, I'm just going to do it. I've got 3n's plus 2n's minus 8n's. So how many n's do I have there in all? 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 minus 8 is a negative 3n. So when all said and done, rather than taking 3n plus 2n minus 8n, I can combine like terms, and I've got negative 3n's. Now I'm going to plug my 7 into that. Negative 3 times 7, which is a negative 21, which is the same as negative 21. So yes, this one works as well. Now, if you did not combine like terms initially, you plug in 7 for this, you'd have gotten 3 times 7 plus 2 times 7 minus 8 times 7, which works out to be 21 plus 14 minus 56, and that would still bring you to negative 21. So you didn't have to combine like terms first. It kind of made your equation a little bit smaller that you got to work with there, but if you didn't, you should still get yes, that 7 is the value for n. Next one, we're testing 3 here, and we have 8 minus 4, then in parentheses 3 minus 5 equals 16. We don't need to distribute here, that 4, because we have 2 numbers inside of our parentheses. We can just kind of actually subtract those there. So 3 minus 5 is negative 2. And here's where it gets a little bit tricky. You've got 8 minus 4 times negative 2. Now remember, this negative sign belongs to the 4. So since we have to multiply first, based on order of operations, we would not subtract 8 and 4 first, right? We're going to multiply first. Negative 4 times a negative 2 is a positive 8. So in our next step, our equation is going to look like this. And that positive 8 comes from that negative 4 times a negative 2. That's positive 8, and 8 plus 8 is 16. So yes, this one works. Be very careful with those signs. Okay. I'll take a minute to kind of pause, let you catch your breath a little bit. Let me catch my breath a little bit. Check the score of the Vikings game, which is going on as I'm recording this. Got it up on my computer. Okay, there you go. 7-3. We'll see what happens with that one. And now we will move on. The next one, we've got the root of n minus 16. We are going to plug in 25 for n, see if that works. So the root of 25 is 5. And since that minus 16 is outside of the root, it's not under the root, we don't take the square root of 16. You probably caught that. So 5 minus 16 gives us negative 11, which not equal to positive 3. So no, 25 is not the solution for n in that equation. Last one here, we are testing 8. And just for kicks, I'm going to simplify this one first. I got two variable terms. I got parentheses. I'm feeling like it's going to be a little bit more complicated unless I distribute and combine like terms. Do what I can here. So distribute the 4. So I get 4 times 2n, which is 8n. 4 times negative 5, which is negative 20. That equals 68. Now I can combine my like terms, 3n and 8n, combine to give me 11n's. Minus 20 equals 68. I can plug in that 8 at this point. 11 times 8 is 88. 88 minus 20 is 68. So that is a yes as well. And again, if you did not simplify first, you just plugged in the 8 for both ends and went at it, you should still get 68 on that left side. Your answer should still be yes. Bottom row here, let's not distribute this time. Let's keep it. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna clear the ink so I can scroll this up so people in the back can see this bottom row more clearly. So if you need the video paused, just let Mrs. Larson know so you can jot down notes. Otherwise, I'm going to clear it and move on. Okay, up we go. Ooh, too far. Oh, no, wrong direction. Here we go. Let's get this figured out. Big brain. Okay, there we go. So the bottom row here, we got an n value of negative 6. So we're going to plug that into our parentheses for n. So you have 8 times negative 6 plus 7, and we want to see if that is equal to negative 8. In our parentheses, negative 6 plus 7 is a positive 1. And 8 times positive 1 gives us positive 8 instead of negative 8. So they are unequal. Therefore, negative 6 does not work in that equation. And lastly here, we've got n divided by negative 3. We're going to replace n with negative 3. And see if negative 3 divided by negative 3 equals negative 1. Well, we know from PO10 that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So, and that anything divided by itself equals 1. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 is a positive 1, which is unequal to negative 1. So we end with a no there as well. These last two, you could have varying answers. Basically, what you needed is an equation, 7n equals 63, so that if you plug 9 in for the variable, plug 9 in for n, it's going to be true. 7 times 9 is 63. Maybe you have 15 plus n equals 24. 15 plus 9 equals 24. Remember I said yesterday that it's not that your equation has to equal 9, but the variable value does. Same thing here, right? A true equation with a variable value of negative 4. So for perhaps you have 10 plus n equals 6, right? 10 plus negative 4 or 10 minus 4 would equal 6. Maybe you've got 12n equals negative 48. 12 times negative. I'd actually be pretty impressed if anyone has either of those equations, considering I'm just throwing them up there and you all wrote different ones probably, but so 12 times n, 12 times negative 4 equals negative 48. So if you got questions on whether you've got those correct, you can send me an email and I'll check them over for you. Otherwise, just maybe ask a neighbor, hey, if you plug in negative 4 to this, does it work? If you plug in 9 for this, does it work? Okay, and hopefully they say yes. So, Mrs. Larson, if you could go ahead and pause this video, and students go on over, log into Google Classroom. You will find a 3-question quiz there. 3-question quiz, that is all. Please complete that and submit it now. Probably about 5 minutes to do it, and if you don't finish within the 5, then you can complete it later. and then I'll kind of get to see from home how things went with CO17. So go ahead and pause the video and take the quiz. All right, you are back, which means hopefully you have taken the quiz, and I need to pause the video for just a second. All right, and we are back. Sorry about that. When the boss calls, you answer. So there we go. Okay, we are moving on to PO18 and 19. And based on the last test, we're actually, your Math 6 review section, I had you solve for a variable in one-step equations. That went very, very well. So I'm already going into this with confidence that you've seen it before. That there's a relative understanding of it. We're just kind of go maybe a little bit deeper and explain why things work. So this is the first of, like I said, like 5 objectives that all have to do with solving equations. And we're going to slowly build up from kind of the one-step basic equations, then we'll go to 2-step, then multi-step, and by the end of this unit, any equation that you come across, any equation that you see, you will have the tools to know how to solve for that variable. I'm going to say this now. I'm going to say it again. Yes, I am sure that 95% of you already know the answer to that for what n is without doing any work, no calculator, no jotting down, nothing. That's great. I'm proud of you. However, where we're going, you're not going to be able to look at an equation and just be able to solve for the variable mentally. Trust me. So when I ask you to show work on this basic stuff, you really need to show the work and understand the process, how to do it, so that when you get to an equation that you cannot solve mentally, you've got that process down. All right? So that's my little disclaimer. I'll say it again later on. You'll hear it a lot. You'll roll your eyes. That's okay. Okay? It's important. So we're going to really focus on just the first 2 here. Fact families are kind of for folks that are seeing this for literally the very first time, and that's not you. And so just to kind of save time, save space, and everything else, we're just going to talk about these top 2 here. So when solving for a variable, one method you can use is logic. And this is kind of the mental math way, right? Whether you're actually asking yourself this question or not, what you're thinking about is what number plus 6 is 18, right? When you solve an equation mentally, that's kind of the question that your brain's answering. You know, you may not think this question literally, but that's what's being answered. What number plus 6 is 18? And that's one method you can use when you have an equation. Just replace that variable with what number. What number plus 6 is 18? Oh, 12 plus 6 is 18, right? I know that. And so n equals 12. Okay? This one here, though, the opposite operations, this is the one that you're going to use. That logic method kind of breaks down once equations get pretty complicated, but opposite operations will always work. And it says here, the opposite of adding 6 is subtracting 6. And subtracting 6 from both sides, it's italicized, so it must be important, from both sides of the equal sign, will get the variable by itself. Do it below. Okay. So we have n plus 6. I want you to write this down. N plus 6 equals 18. And the opposite operations method basically has us undo the equation to get the variable by itself. What are we doing to n? We're adding 6. And so to undo that, the opposite of adding 6 is subtracting 6. And it's important that you do this to both sides, right? Because I think it was, we talked about this the other day about your equation kind of being like a balanced scale like you had in science class, or at least I had in science class, right? And so right now on the left side, we've got n plus 6. On the right side, we have 18, and our center post is like our equal sign. Right now, things are balanced. Everything's good, okay? And if we go and we remove this 6 from just one side, what's going to happen to our balanced scale? Dunk, right? It's not going to be balanced anymore, okay? So when you subtract 6 from that left side, which 6 minus 6 equals 0, and so we're left with just n, we've taken that positive 6 away by subtracting it. You've got to do it to the other side also to keep that equation balanced. Subtracting 6 from both sides will not change the value of the equation. And as you can see, 18 minus 6, lo and behold, is 12. Get the same answer that we got by doing it mentally. Right? This opposite operations method is what I'm going to have you practice for your homework. I think down below it says using all 3 methods from above each time. No. I want you to focus on this opposite operations method. Okay? It'll serve you well going forward. So, there are the notes. If you need the video pause, go ahead and pause it. Otherwise, we're going to move on down below. Couple examples here. Again, using all 3 methods from above each time, no. Just the opposite operations. Using opposite operations. Okay, so 8 plus n equals 25. I've got some more space here. I'm going to rewrite this equation down here. I would like you to do the same, just so it's a size that you can work with here. And our goal is to get n by itself. Now, remember, with adding, the order of addition doesn't matter. So if it makes more sense to you to rewrite this as n plus 8 equals 25, just reverse the n and the 8, that's okay. Okay, but we don't have to. We can still use opposite operations here. 8 plus n equals 25. We want to get n by itself. What's the opposite of a positive 8? What's the opposite of a positive 8? What are we going to have to do to that 8 to remove it? Okay. Well, if we add 8, and don't write this down because it's not going to be right. Okay. But if we add 8 to both sides, well, 8 plus 8 is 16. That didn't get n by itself. That doesn't work. Okay? That's not what we want here. So we're going to be subtracting it. The opposite of a positive 8 is a negative 8. Remember we learned about opposites back in CO3? That was kind of laying the groundwork for this. What's the opposite of a positive 8? Negative 8. So 8 minus 8 gives us 0. They cancel out, exactly what we wanted to happen. N is by itself, and 25 minus 8 is 17. So n equals 17. I am also going to require that you check these. So once you get n by itself and solve for n, I want you to go back, plug n into the equation, and say, yep, that works. 8 plus 17 equals 25. I should see the check mark on your page of you checking your answer. It takes seconds to do, and it can help prevent from those just silly mistakes that would cost you points on a test or homework assignment or whatever. Okay? So, n equals 17. Next one. N minus 13 equals 19. We want to get n by itself. We want to undo what's being done. What's being done is we are subtracting 13. And the opposite of a negative 13 is a positive 13. And again, we're going to do that to both sides. Negative 13 plus 13 gives us 0. They cancel out. N is by itself. And 19 plus 13 is 32. Check. Does 32 minus 13 equal 19? Yes, it does. So life is good. Okay. The last one here, third one here. N plus 12 equals 50. Again, I'm going to rewrite the equation down below. N plus 12 equals 50. What's being done to n? I'm adding 12. I want to remove that. I do that by subtracting 12, opposite operations from both sides there. 12 minus 12 gives us 0. And 50 minus 12 is 48. So n equals 48. We're going to go back and check. 48 plus 12 equals, oh, whoops. 48 plus 12 is 60. If I hadn't taken the time to check that, that would have been a point off on the test, right? Mistakes happen. And when they do, you want to go back and check. This did not work out. So then I go back to my work and I say, okay, I'm adding 12, so the opposite of that is subtracting 12. 12 minus 12 cancels out. I'm n by itself. 50 minus 12 is, oh, 50 minus 12 is 38. So 38 plus 12, that equals 50. Now we're good. Check, check, check. Okay. Your homework on this is going to be the second page here. And actually, you know what? I said we were going to do 2 objectives today. I think I changed my mind. I think we're only going to do just the one because you had that quiz toss in there too. And I really want you to take your time on this homework and do it well. By doing it well, this is what I want to see. I want to see you rewrite the equation n plus 7 equals 20. I want to see you subtracting 7 from both sides. I want to see that 20 minus 7 is 13. And I want to see you check it. Does 13 plus 7 equal 20? Yes. There should be really no excuse for getting any of these questions wrong on this page if you are checking your answer. Okay, I want you to do that. So if you finish this during class, then feel free to work on Con. It is due on Thursday. Or if you got Math Packet number 4 to work on as well. But I need to see all this work as you work through the page. Okay? All right, that, folks, is How You Math. Homework due tomorrow. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and have a great day.